Hello everyone, welcome to Builder by Behind the Scene. I'm your host Gil Boyd. Today we're going to take a look at some of the other equipment we use for animal videography or wildlife videography. And this is going to be a camera harness system that we're going to use for a video camera. So hope you enjoy this. As we take a look at this one, we're going to actually compare it to another one that we considered. But if you're going to get one of these, I think you'll see which one's the winner. So stay with us. This is the Cotton Camera Carrying Systems 3G camera harness system for 2 cameras. Now what's nice about this, it's made for 2 cameras. Or you can use it for a camera and say if you're spotting, maybe a pair of binoculars. And the pouch on the side can be removed, but if you were going to do something like this, we want to go the whole 9 yards. And this is a complete kit. The other one we're going to look at and compare with, this setup is by Nicama. It is a 1 or 2 camera vest with a side holster. They almost look like they've been made in the same factory, but the quality is completely different. So I'm going to get these both out at the same time. We're going to take a look. So we've got the device from Cotton open. Now we're going to open the one from Nicama, see what we've got. Pretty complete. Comes in a bag. Nice. Stowaway bag is nice. I'm surprised they didn't put the little fasteners on there to make it easy to use that. As we pull the Nicama out, it's got an introduction, shows how it works. This whole setup depends upon the little button that sits on the camera. Once the camera's mounted, it holds it on that vest so the camera's looking down. What we're after is a setup that'll have that camera and hold it right here. So we're going to pull this bag off. There's our plates, mount on the camera, and there's our side holster. That looks pretty good. So that would mount on the side, either left or right, depending on how you want to go, depending on how you ride. Total mesh back, and you got the plate in front. This is the important part. This is the business part that holds the camera. That looks like plastic. All they have is a button that sits in there. Let's take a look at that. They've included the screws and included the key, which is nice. Both of these use the same threads. So when that goes in and locks, it does not let it turn. It goes straight down. So I can see some advantages of that. I have read where some people have had this pull out because of the way this mounts. But it's keyed in here. Now there's space here, top and bottom. So it's keyed, so when it goes down, it locks. It doesn't have much play. Now this can spin once it hits the top, but once it hits the bottom, there's a certain place it has to sit. It has to sit like that. So that's the way that needs to go on the camera. So the orientation where this little area is at, if you'll notice, that little orientation right there, that's the way the camera needs to face. So now it goes in and locks. That's it. Interesting. So if we were to put this on, we have a buckle and a buckle. So they've got safety straps that are extra. That's interesting the way they've done that. I would think this would get some getting used to, putting this on. I almost feel like I need something to gird it up so it won't keep riding up to hold it down, but it's just me. I feel like I'm wearing like a climbing harness or putting on some kind of a parachute type apparatus. Now it's interesting the way this one is made. The straps in back, the top here, these are sewn on, so there's no way to pull. So any adjustments made are made right here from the front. That's an interesting distinction because I've had the cotton vest on, and once I went through it, it took me about 20 minutes to figure it out. It was, it works, it fits, but it's a little weird getting into it. But this one I got into right away, I guess because I've done it before. So as we look at it and the way it feels, again, these points back here are sewn on. So the only adjustments are what you have here at the front, left and right. So once that's adjusted, and the cotton I think was a lot easier to adjust. It was easier to pull the straps tight. But anyway, once that's done, the camera has to sit right here. And this is the next distinction. Okay, I've got this round button I need to put on. That's going to go in the camera, and the camera's going to sit right there. The camera's going to be sitting down. For most people that may work, what got my attention with the cotton, if you've ever heard of a Zacuto mount, I won't get into the details, but a Zacuto mount has my attention because it works with a lot of things. It's more compatible, but being 100% Zacuto compliant and being Zacuto compatible are like 2 different things. For example, we use these plates, as I've mentioned before in other videos, from Kessler. I like the Kessler quick mounts. So I expected, because the Kessler quick mounts are Zacuto compliant, fully Zacuto compliant. You set those and lock them in, they're good to go. So I expected the device from Cotton, of which they sell a separate device to mount, would work with this. It does not. It'll fit in the slides, but if I set, I have to take, first of all, this Zacuto mount off, but if I use the Cotton mount and try to put it on the mount on the tripod, it goes in part of the way, but because of the way it's designed, it doesn't go in all the way. What Canon needs to do, as I talk about that, is they need to get with Kessler and figure out a way to make their mount work with a Kessler which is fully compliant. So Kessler does a great job with what they do. So this vest, if we go ahead and put the camera on it, which I'll do. Okay, so we got the camera. I've got to take this mount off. I need a universal key. That would be a quarter. Don't have the universal key, so I'm going to use their key in this bag. It will do the job. As far as which one you use, I mean, this device from Nicama is a whole lot less expensive. The thing that concerns me is the camera. Camera's really important to me. I still don't want anything to happen to it. So I've got my mount off. So now we're just looking at the raw camera. So we're going to take their little button. We're going to mount that to the camera using their universal screwdriver. And the orientation for that, we need to remember, because of these notches, need to be this way. So that camera, when it's mounted, points down. And we may need to make some adjustments. I will say they've got a pad on the bottom of this glued down. It's about, a little over a 1/16 of an inch thick. It looks like it'll do the job. So you have a little bit of a give, but that way it's not metal to metal. Okay, we've got the mount set, so I'm going to pick this up. Now, I have a strap on the camera. They also include a strap that I can tie to the camera. This strap that goes around my neck is going to stay around my neck. This is my safety strap. I need something that's going to work with my camera and my existing setup. That's my lifeline. If I put this in, that'll hang. Oh, yeah, it'll go all the way down and lock. Interesting. I didn't feel it just putting it in there, but with the weight of the camera, it'll lock. For that to lock, that needs to be turned this way. So we'll do that. You know what they say, live and learn. This is the first time I've looked at this particular vest. Like I said, I've looked at the other vest. I got a little sweaty trying it. Okay, so we're going to turn this sideways. As you can see, the orientation of this is across this time. Let's see if this gives us what we're after. It has a tendency to want to walk as I tighten it. Okay, I'm satisfied with that. Let's see how that works. So that should go in. And that locks. Not bad. I didn't get a sense of that just with this. So apparently the weight of the camera, but I'm concerned about the button, if it's going to do what I want. Now you have to remember though, because that's locked in, it'll stay, and that's riding right at my belt, which is what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm going to have to adjust this and get this up. Now that adjusts pretty easy. So did that one. I could live with that. But my camera is still down here at my belt. So when I'm riding, let me get my strap back on. So with the orientation crossways instead of in parallel, that locks. Now that holds the camera. I'm good with that like that. The question is, how's it going to be when I'm riding on a bike? I cannot adjust that any higher based on where that sits. Now back here, that feels pretty good. And I can tighten in the sides. I don't know that I want to. Then I've got the side with another button, so I can use it for binoculars or for another camera. We like versatility. And of course that would just hook through the side. Since I've got a mic over there, I'll put it on this side. Now that can either go here on the side like this. Now I feel like I'm putting on a holster. Interesting. That would have that device right there. Or I don't know how easily that would fit up here. It has to go like right there. So I could have another camera here, or I could have binoculars here. So I'll take one of these out in the field and give you my idea what I think of it. My concern is the size of the button. Now the button that comes with the cotton is of the same size, but it's a little bit more ingenious. And what I'll show you about that, in fact, let's just compare the buttons and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, now this button is the Nicama. We're looking at the side that attaches to the camera. On this side, we're going to get this out of the box, and we're going to take a look at the one that comes from Canon, because the mounting system is where the strength is at. The mounting system is what matters. That's the business side. The pad is in the bag. It's right there. Just a piece of neoprene that's been machine cut, an OD and an ID. So from this perspective, they look pretty much the same. But when we flip them over, this part is different. And if you'll notice, this part that's on top, this is the part that hooks onto your camera. And I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. Now I get why some people have said they've had trouble with this on the left breaking out from Nicama. Look at the difference in the size of that. That's the little piece right here. That's the little piece right here. And that is what holds in the vest. Wow, now I understand why some people are concerned why it comes out. Unless you have something like this side by side, you wouldn't know. I didn't till now. And I have heard about someone saying this would tear out. I understand why it tore out. Nicama, cotton. The outside diameter is the same, but the part that goes on that is completely different. Where those two meet on the inside, cotton wins, no comparison, as opposed to the Nicama. So then you have to ask yourself, well, a lot of difference in price. Yeah. How much is your camera worth? How much is your video camera worth? You know what a G40 or a G50 goes for? An XA35, an XA15. So if I were carrying one of those, yeah. But I don't want a lot of overhead. And yes, I could take the arm off of the XA35 or the XA15. But again, the G40, the G50 does the job. But I got to thinking about some of this when we had another subscriber who was talking about going out bear hunting. I believe he was going. He was concerned about how he was getting around with the camera, so that's what made me think of this vest. And you got to get out in the field to try it so you know what you're talking about. And because of things going on in my life, I've been hunting alligators. And he also got me thinking about the remote, how to do that. So this is the first step. Now, this is just one little item as we compare the mounts. And now I understand what people are talking about when they said this pulls out. And I've not read about anybody having this pull out. So the next thing we got to do is let me take this vest off and let's go through the cotton and see what we've got as we compare. I got to tell you, I had to cheat on this because I put this on for the first time the other day because I was wondering about how it all went together. It took me a little while to figure it out. That's why this one went on so easy. So got a belt here, undo. Got a belt right here, I'll undo. Quick release. I feel like I'm putting on a tactical vest. Whole nother conversation. I'm not real comfortable trusting my camera, my video camera, to this. You know, what if we scale up to a 4K camera? What if we were carrying like a Canon 705? No way. Of course, carrying a Canon 705, I would probably carry it in a shoulder pack or a backpack. And if we were using a cinema camera, same thing. But for a small, lightweight video camera like the G40, XA15, XA35, I think this is a good idea, a good mix. But you know, you have to get a feel for it. So let's go to the next vest, which is going to be the cotton. Now, okay, the cotton comes with the mount. Here's one of, and here's the second one, because again, we've got for two cameras, one the vest and two the side piece. The side piece is optional, very handy. I want to be complete in case we go that route. For the moment, I'm going to leave that sitting right there. I'll take this and put it aside. And as a side kit, I will mention this part is what we looked at. That's optional. This is the Zacuto mount. So at the end, I'll get this out and we'll take a look at it. You know, it's a plate. It's a long plate, and that plate and this go together. But it's not 100% Zacuto compliant. So I'm just saying. So there's the side piece, and now the vest. So we'll pull this out. This is a much more substantial vest. I can tell by feeling it. And complete instructions are included. I'll pull this out and show you. This is the cotton, all 1-2 camera and binocular harness instructions. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Get the vest situated and get it put on, 1, 2, 3. Then you got the plate that goes on the camera, which is our video camera in our case, 1, 2, 3. Then you got the side to put on, and that's pretty simple and straightforward. And if you notice down here in this picture, they show the safety strap, where you've got a safety strap on the side camera or binoculars, and then of course their safety strap on the camera itself. But again, we're going to be using our strap that stays around my neck. That's just one of those rules. That's the way it is. But I appreciate their extra strap. You find something for it. Okay, what we need to do now, we'll put the instructions out of the way. Let's look at the two vests. We compare them side by side. Again, two straps. I've taken the liberty of taking the two straps off, setting them aside. I'm going to get the box out of the way. Okay, here is the cotton vest. We're looking at the back of it first, and I want to show you the difference in the two. Okay, here's the cotton vest from the back, and here's the Nicama from the back. Now the Nicama breathes better. It's got double mesh. There's nothing you can put in there. So that's the Nicama. This is the cotton. Now the cotton is really interesting the way it's made. Here we have this that's unusable because here's your two shoulder straps. Here's the two shoulder straps, and if you notice, here's like a little fruit loop at the top, and you've got this area here, but you've also got where the straps themselves slide down in here and are in this area. So I'm going to flip this over so you can see what this looks like, and flip this one over so you can see what this one looks like. This is all open mesh. This has some padding here on the sides, and this is all open mesh. So let's look at the bottom, the one on the left, and take this off. Now, if there's some questions you have about this, please let us know, because if you're curious and we missed something, ask. Remember, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. We're here to help. That's what our goal is. So we're showing you things that we are looking at that we may or may not use. I was interested in this, then I wasn't. Now I'm more interested in it, especially since I've compared the two. If we were going to use one, I'll tell you right off, it'd be the cotton. Okay, so we're going to take the two vests. Let's flip them over. Look at the front side. Oh, excuse me. While we're on the back, this is really important to note, and I want to get this where we can have this, where we can look at it. Okay, on the back, this can be adjusted from either side. We have a belt. On the back, the D-rings that are used on this one are of a higher quality. This I can tell you right off the bat. This is a whole lot easier, the cotton, to adjust from my perspective, in my opinion. I'm 6'2", pretty big guy, and I want something that's going to protect that camera, especially with me on a bike. You know, sometimes you get a little like, wow, because the trail's kind of weird. So again, adjustments on both sides. This one has adjustments, belt on the left. This one has adjustments, again, belt on the left. Both exactly the same design. Again, the back with a fruit loop. So let's flip it over and see what we're looking at. Now on the front, and on the front, of course, there's a big difference in price. There's a big difference in quality. This one's black. This one happens to be kind of a gray looking fabric. There's a little bag here that has like a little rain hoodie in it. If you've ever been caught out in the rain, I did that one day. Got the camera sopping wet. I didn't think it was any big deal on the way. I had a little bit of a sprinkle, but on the way back, it was raining so I couldn't hardly see. But, you know, if you get a camera wet, then you got to let it sit for a while, let it dry out. Don't touch it, battery or anything. Once it dries, wipe off the outside. But then once it dries, give it 2 or 3 days, then camera was good to go. But I'm just saying that hoodie would have been nice. So I've been carrying one of those white plastic trash bags in my pocket. In case I get caught again, I can wrap it up and I'm good to go. But something like this is nice to have because you got some way to protect your camera. And it's even got the little device here that makes it where you can pull it, keep it taut, which I like. Bundle that back up and stick it in the bag. And that's just hooked onto the D-ring. You can unclip it and put it where you need to. It's got a hook and loop closure top. Both of them have a pouch in front. The Nicama pouch that opens, there's where you put stuff. The cotton has a pouch, no hook and loop fastener. It's just a pouch for whatever. If you need to stick something in there, you know, a business card or whatever. So D-rings, this has larger D-rings. Now I think it's time to put on the cotton and show you what it's all about. It's a more robust vest. It's a lot better quality. Pop the ring, so we'll get into this. Some of you might rather crawl into it. I'd rather unbuckle it and get into it. So the first time out of the box, it took me maybe 20 minutes to put this thing on because I'd never done it before. I wasn't sure what I was looking at, and it was a new animal. But now that I've done it, no big deal. And you saw I just slipped it on. Buckle on the front here at the top, buckle on the side right here. You can see how it carries. Now what we're going to do is we'll take the Nicama, since we've messed with that, and put it over to one side. Interesting vest, but the button is, to me, a deal killer. Out comes the camera, and we're going to remove the Nicama button, and we're going to install the button from cotton. What a difference. As you well know, change one thing changes everything, and details matter. You have to think about that. And if your camera is important to you, and that's what it's all about, because when you're out shooting animals, for example, I had this beautiful shot. I had a couple of hawks on a fence. By the time I got the camera up right here, they both went. I didn't get a chance to get the shot. So, I mean, you have to be prepared. You have to be patient. And sometimes I even keep a folding chair with me in the back of the car that I can take out in the field. Now, I haven't done it yet, but it's light enough that I could, and I probably will soon, because I need some way to get around with that, which brings up something else. Change one thing changes everything. Add one thing, and that again changes everything. The more stuff you carry, the more stuff you carry, you got to figure out some way to get it out there and get it back. So right now, this is about how I travel light. In the next step, I'll show you what I do to get a tripod out there. And as far as a carbon tripod, you save 5 pounds. 5 pounds is a lot, but I can backpack a tripod, but I'm not backpacking a tripod on a bike. So I'm going to be using a trailer, and I'll show you that in another video. So we'll go back to the mount. Okay, so we've got this mount loose. We're taking off the Nicama, and there's a lot of vests out there like this, but these are the two that I felt were the best. But when I saw the price of this, I said, you got to be kidding. What makes this so great? After going through this, I get it. I understand it. Another interesting thing is the quality of the fastener that's used. That's Nicama. That's Nicama. And that's what Cotton uses. Nicama on the left, Cotton on the right. Quality piece of equipment. We've got our pad. We've got our plate. And you got to remember there's a thick part and a thin part. That thin part is what's going to hold in the vest. It's thin this way, but it's large around this way. And to verify our orientation, we've got an arrow. So I'm going to hold this up here, and this is easy to see where it's squared off. So when this is in and locked, side to side lets it go in. So the orientation on this needs to be side to side where the arrows are. And this is the part I have a problem with. I wish they'd get together with someone like Kessler. Once I put this mount on, then this mount is specific to this vest. If I want to put this on a tripod, then I have their mount that I can put on, which I'm going to show you here in just a second, but it's not 100% Zacuto compliant. So yeah, I can put that on a tripod with a regular base, but it will not work with our bases from Kessler for the quick release, which is a bummer. Which one's going to win? Kessler. Which means I'm going to have to be doing both if I use the cameras indoors and out. Right now these G40s are pretty much for used outside. And for a while I was carrying 2 cameras when I went out in the field, but now I'm only carrying 1 camera because I have yet to set up 2 cameras to shoot outside. Usually when I'm using 2 cameras outside, I'm within close proximity where I take them in the case, I open the case, I pull the 2 cameras out and set them on tripods. I'm not out in the field per se, like, you know, 2 hours away from civilization, that sort of thing. So anyway, back to the mount. So we're going to get this mount put on here. So orientation, side to side, see where the arrow's at. Now with this mounted on here, let's see what we've got. I'll take that bag and put it out of the way. So orientation needs to be with the arrows pointing in the direction of the camera. So orientation needs to be with the direction of the camera. Okay, let's see what that does. Orientation with the camera, front to back. Now when we slide this in, it should go in sideways and lock. And it does. And to pull it out, pull it. So first things first, camera goes on around my neck, lock it in, and it's locked. Pretty interesting. Am I sweating like I did the first time I put it on? No, it's not too bad. What I need to do is take this out in the field and get back to you and let you know what I think, which makes this a 2-part video. But as I kind of hunch over, I'm not going to be, you know, when you're on a bike, you're not going to be getting that in the way. I like where this carries. I like where this hits. It's better protection for the camera. This is a much better quality engineered product. Now, another nice thing that we didn't have on the Nicama that we have on Cotton, this little strap right here. This strap will go right across and secure to keep that where it's at. So if I'm using a video camera, for example, if I use the Nikon D90, I can use this with that. With a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, then I'm pretty secure. But I usually carry that camera on a shoulder pack. I'm just, you know, real picky and real funny. This works, protects the lens. And sometimes when I'm out bumping around to keep that steady, all I have to do is release that buckle, pull that up, and I'm in business. Not bad. Because you got to be ready. Sometimes my ready, when I've been out scouting, is I pull the smartphone out and I do my scouting for locations. But then when I'm scouting for the shots, sometimes the blocking shots, I'll use the smartphone. It's good enough for that I can use it as a reference point. But once I'm at a spot where I'm scouting, if I see what I'm looking for, I need to be prepared. And if I've got this, I'm ready for my camera, I get my shots, and I don't miss it. Because with wildlife, one shot, one take, it's the first shot. Sometimes you don't get a second chance unless you're willing to wait. For example, I'm out hunting alligators. I might see one alligator, and I might go 2 weeks and not see another one. Or I might go 3 days and I see 10 alligators. It's just, you never know what you're going to see, but you got to be ready for it. So Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. And this is about comparing the Nicama video vest to the cotton video vest. And if I want to put the second one on, I can either put it down here on the side, either side, or wherever I like. So I'm not going to get it out of the bag. I think you get the idea, you get the hint. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. And in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about audio. This is our Shure mics. We use these in the studio. Can't use them in the field. We could, but they're in a rack mount case, and so not practical. So we're going to look at two different options on microphones. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. My name is Gil Boyd, and we'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe. We look forward to hearing from you. Please keep it positive, because you never know. We got lots of people watching. And if you'd like to share with us your thoughts, we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you subscribing. Thumbs up would be appreciated. Look forward to seeing the next video. You guys are amazing.